out. When everyone's on Derrick Henry, he crushes, but not when I'm on him. No. I said to myself, Derrick Henry is the perfect pivot off of Dalvin Cook. Similar ceiling, a third of the ownership. My beautiful brain sees the matrix and no one else realizes it. Do you know that the Lions on that 70-yard touchdown that Dalvin Cook had yesterday had 10 men on the field? 10 men on the field. They did it last week on a 2-point conversion. The Lions had 10 men on the field. Dalvin Cook running like God, and the Lions can't even get 11 men out there on the field. How's the chat doing this morning? DeBoink, good morning. Good morning. Kevin, good morning. This is, oh boy, we will talk some Justin Jackson tilt for sure. Although I was shocked at his ownership. I was legitimately shocked. He was a good play, but he was 45, 50% owned in a lot of those single entry 3-max contests. This is the place. This is what this chat is for. Let's go conspiracy theories. This is America. The Steelers are shaving points. Stop the count. Yeah, man. I set a line similar to this yesterday, Daily Fantasy Nut Job, after watching the Ravens-Colts game. I played Mark Andrews. I'm buying the dip on Mark Andrews, and watching that game, watching Nick Boyle score more than Mark Andrews, I said, I don't want to ever play DFS again. I changed my mind about an hour later when I registered for the showdown contests, but at the time, I never wanted to play DFS again. What do we have here for Tyler? Crazy week, man. The fact that I managed to profit on a week like this is very motivating. That's right, man. Get a profit. Move on to the next week. That's all we can do. Tyreek Hill, 19 opportunities. Guy just continues to score touchdowns. Mahomes, just 4 TDs every week. Book it. Why overthink it? Just double stack him and Kelsey every week. Toss in Demarcus Robinson if you like. Easy game. Bring it back with Christian McCaffrey, the best running back in football. Apologies, Dalvin. Easy game. Baltimore stacks are dust. Yeah. I mean, these are, how they have the stages of grief? This is the stages that I've gone through the Ravens. Game stack with the Ravens. Okay, that doesn't work. All right, we'll do the double stack. No bring back. Marquise Brown. Oh, that doesn't work. Okay, let's just do the skinny stack. Just do the skinny stack with Lamar and Mark Andrews. No, that doesn't work either. The stacks don't work. I've tried them all. They don't work. Good morning, Erocha. Can we talk about how Patricia is limiting Swift and keeping us from shipping? Yes. We're going to pull up my lineup here in 1 second and see that's exactly what he's doing. Matt Patricia needs to go. Our lineups need to win. We need to eat. We need to feed our families. And Matt Patricia is out here rolling out 10 men on defense and giving Adrian Peterson carries and touches over DeAndre Swift. Kerryon Johnson's getting red zone looks. Let's pull up the spreadsheet. I already did the spreadsheet formatting this morning. Whoo, boy. This was not a good one. We will review my 2 spy lineups. I played the big spy and the little spy again. Big spy, disaster. 103.54 points. 49.36 points off the cash line. Bottom 12th percentile. Finish in 4,907th place. $0. Baby spy, 135.8. Cash line 152.64. Getting closer, but not close enough. 920th place, $0. Let's look at this lineup. Imagine me at the start of this game. And I will say, the past few weeks, I haven't felt good at lock about my lineups. There's some plays you like, but all the pieces aren't coming together. This week was different. I felt so damn good about this lineup. I loved it. Deshaun Watson to Will Fuller and Brandon Cooks. You bring it back with Shenault. We can talk. We're going to talk about that. I debated Chark, but ultimately I wanted the savings on Shenault. I correlate DeAndre Swift with Justin Jefferson, trying to get max leverage. All these plays were trying to get max leverage on Dalvin Cook. We played Derrick Henry as the pivot, And then in that same game, DeAndre Swift, Justin Jefferson. So being like, if Dalvin Cook fails and Derrick Henry crushes and DeAndre Swift and Justin Jefferson go off, we're owning the Dalvin Cook slappies, the chalk donkeys. I thought Chalktober was over, man. It just keeps going. It just keeps going and going and going. And then I said Mark Andrews as a one-off tight end at 4,800, 5.4% ownership. What a beautiful play by me. Little did I know I was playing Nick Boyle's backup. And then we had $2,500 left at defense. Everyone always tells me the chalk defense gets there. The cheap top chalk defense always gets there. Why not play the Falcons? Oh, this is the game Drew Lock throws for over 300 yards? Okay. I didn't mind the A-Rob correlation with Henry. It was just expensive. It was hard to fit in, and I did want to prioritize Justin Jefferson. I think I probably could have found the money to get to A-Rob there, but it would have gotten me off of Jefferson. And Jefferson was, I know all these people out here are making flag plant plays these days. I wanted to stick my hand in the dirt on Justin Jefferson. I need to come up with my own version of the flag plant play. I like Justin Jefferson a lot. What do we got going here? Here we go. This is what we're here for. I really think you're overthinking the leverage on Cook. I think you just eat the chalk and differentiate somewhere else. Everyone always says this to me. I'm overthinking the leverage on Cook. If you look at ceiling projections, I look at Derek Carty's on the blitz. If you look at ceiling projections on Derrick Henry and Dalvin Cook yesterday, Dalvin Cook's was 35 and Derrick Henry's was 31 ceiling projection. The ownership on Derrick Henry was 8.2%, and the ownership on Dalvin Cook was 39.3%. So then you're telling me 40% of the field is playing Dalvin Cook, and the ceiling is only a 4-point difference. And I'm going to get it at a fourth of the ownership. To me, that's it's just not even close. It's not even a question. Why would I want to play an 8v8 with the rest of the field? We all have Dalvin Cook. No, I'm trying to get to first. On the weeks when Dalvin Cook fails, I'm giving myself multiple leverage outs to climbing the leaderboard. And I'm not saying Dalvin Cook wasn't a good play. I think Dalvin Cook was a good play. Of course he was. What really kills me is that I had in my spreadsheet, I can go to a tab here. I had here Derrick Henry and Christian McCaffrey up here at the top. These were two of the plays I narrowed it down to. And I fell for that stupid Ian Rappaport report about them alternating carries. And so I lowered all of my McCaffrey ownership and ended up going heavy on Henry. You'll notice I don't even have Dalvin Cook up here. I'm playing 4 to 5 lineups. I was fading Dalvin Cook. He was a fine play. I just thought I could get ceiling and ownership discounts elsewhere. No regrets. No regrets. Let's see here. Let me check in on the chat here. Where did my other lineup go? Oh, this is the lineup that won. I was like, wow, this is a great lineup here. Let me check in on the chat. At least my process was similar to yours. That should pay off eventually, right? That's what I keep telling myself. We're on a little cold streak here. It's getting a little cold. We did have the min cash last week. We had the min cash in week 5. I mean, the on-record bankroll challenge hasn't been going great. We're hovering. I mean, look, I'm having a good season. I got 3rd place in the mini spy that wasn't on the record for $10,000. I'm going to have a winning season no matter what I do the rest of the way out because I'm a nit and I have good bankroll management. That said, I am a slave to this spreadsheet, and I'm a slave to being honest in trying to win this specific bankroll challenge. I might have to fire up Frisco Josh head-to-head GPP. If this bankroll gets down to less than 150, If we brick out, I think literally if I brick out next week, if I play the double spy, I'm down to 250. I think I have to challenge Frisco Josh to another head-to-head GPP to be the defibrillator to my bankroll. I think it's about time we run it back. Frisco Josh cares about defensive matchups now. He's doing heat maps of defensive matchups. This is when I go after him. He's in his own head. The defenses don't matter guy is in his own head. This is where I double up through Frisco Josh. The ultimate bailout plan, the ultimate stimulus package. Sam hopping in the chat, Chalktober is over. On to no chalk November. I thought so, man. I know. Well, that wasn't Brick. That was PSU fans this week. Yeah, we talked through that Atlanta-Denver stack. I believe we even jammed Dalvin Cook and Christian McCaffrey. Someone told me this on Twitter, and they said you should subscribe to your own channel. You're right. I should subscribe to my own channel. You should subscribe to my own channel. I think I'm close to 2,000 subs. 2,000 subs. I have balloons. I went down to Party Central. I lined my ceiling with balloons. When I get 2,000 subs, they're all going to come down from the rafters. Please sub to my channel so we can have that party together. I was on Thielen instead, but same process. Yeah. I thought Thielen was a really good play. In our tilt space lineups, we did 2 mini correlations. We did 1 Swift with Adam Thielen and 1 Swift with Justin Jefferson. I thought those were good. No Cook, no cash. You're telling me, brother. You're telling me. Yeah, that's not how ownership works. The glass half full view to ownership. Oh my goodness. Look at this. Oppo Taco, he's with me. Oppo Taco wants to TTP. I love the process of playing Henry over Cook. Just didn't happen to work out. I played Henry over Cook. I'll do that every time. Hell yeah, Taco. That's who I need in my corner. I need some Oppo Tacos backing me up here. I can't battle the chat on my own. I don't believe in defensive matchups unless it's Seattle, Atlanta, or the Lions run defense, in which case I guess I believe in them. Oh my God, Eric, please, let's not. I did a stream on the Ship Chasing channel. We were doing the Fantasy Football World Series draft, and I said the word flummoxed instead of flummoxed, and I got roasted for it. It's all right. I talk a lot of shit. I can take it. PD pronunciations had a bad Saturday evening. Yeah, get the likes up. Get the likes up. If I can't feed my family with Derrick Henry fantasy points, the least I can do is come with my tail between my legs to my wife and being like, look, we have no money, but here is a platter of YouTube likes. People like me. Jeez, I'm amped up this morning. I played Julio and Albert O on an Albert O week. What can you do? Dude, Albert O. What did he finish with yesterday? Did he do anything? Davis is just really digging his feet in the ground on Albert O, and then Noah Fant keeps getting hurt. Maybe it's going to work out. Did Albert O do anything? 1 catch for 7 yards. That's the Albert O special. You just got to hope that that 1 catch is him in the end zone. Yes, slub for the balloons. I didn't get to see the Houston-Jackson game. How did Duke look? I think he ended up with 16 carries, not too efficient. I think he had 40 yards, 4 targets for like 42 yards. Just never play Henry? Are you kidding me? 5 times a year he goes for 40 DraftKings points. All right, let's review these lineups again. I feel like this has been enough tilting. So on this lineup, again, I still feel good about this lineup. Laviska Shenault leaves the game early. Mark Andrews bombs. Justin Jefferson and DeAndre Swift don't hit their ceilings. Derrick Henry bombs. I mean, these are the lineups I build. It's correlated. Yeah. guys just think it's just like the meme of just like shoveling dirt on my grave. I'm just in there and I'm yelling, it's correlated though. It's correlated. Let's see what first did, and then we'll look at the baby spy. Josh Allen to Stephon Diggs, bring it back with a cheap David Moore. Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook. I liked Evan Ingram a lot. I had an Evan Ingram, Antonio Gibson team. Darnell Mooney as a one-off. Jerry Jeudy as a one-off. I'll say it again. These aren't the kind of lineups I'm going to build. They make sense, right? Obviously, jam the two best running backs. Josh Allen was one of the best quarterback values. Stack him up with the obvious wide receiver value. I like the cheap bring back. It's hard to, you can't afford Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, and a Tyler Lockett or DK Metcalf. You get David Moore. It's just hard for me to land on all the one-off plays perfectly. Nail another punt wide receiver, Mooney, not correlated with anything. Nail Ingram, I don't mind. Tight end, you can do whatever. Jeudy is the one-off. Good prices. Nice lineup. I'm not salty. I'm not pissed. I'm not pissed that my beautifully correlated lineup didn't win $100,000 like Michael. Congratulations, Michael. I do think there's some really nice plays in this lineup. Let's check out the baby spy. So I actually did a late swap. I did a late swap in this one. I did a late swap because I said, then I'll have something to talk about on the stream tomorrow. It'll buy me some time. Instead of just pointing at my lineups and saying, trust the process. The process is always right. I said, no, we can do a late swap here. So initially, I thought there was uncertainty about Ezekiel Elliott playing. I thought I wanted to leave myself some outs to play Tony Pollard at $4,000 if Zeke didn't play. So initially in this lineup, instead of Justin Jackson and Henry Ruggs, I had Tony Pollard and Chase Claypool. But I had looked at these swaps ahead of time. And there were a few swaps I was considering. I considered Chase Edmonds to Jakeem Grant. Jakeem Grant was really cheap at $3,100. Chase Edmonds was going to also be a popular running back play. And then, of course, Chase Claypool and Tony Pollard. I thought it would be similar to kind of the DJ Dallas situation last week where we have Tony Pollard. We know he's going to catch passes. I didn't care about the matchup because I thought he was going to catch 6 or 7 balls, get all the touchdown work or goal line work if they were to have it. I know they had a super low implied team total, so the touchdowns were probably going to be few and far to come by. But I wanted to give myself some outs there because I thought both those guys had pretty big upside at low ownership. Ezekiel Elliott gets scratched. I immediately say, hey, I got to go fix this and figure I correlate here with Justin Jackson and Henry Ruggs is a little bit of a higher ceiling than I thought Chase Edmonds and Jakeem Grant had. I thought Jakeem Grant was a solid play at $3,100. So in this lineup, you guys would be so proud of me. I was willing to eat some chalk. I knew Allen and Diggs were going to be popular. I knew that. And this goes back to those things. The blender, play whoever you want. I wanted to play Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. I just wanted to. So then I have to say, what do I do to make this a solid lineup that can actually win first place, even starting my lineup with these two chalky pieces? So the first thing I said was, I want to stack with a secondary Bills piece. I've personally been a little spooked on John Brown. He was off the injury report last week and looked awful. And I thought he was going to be higher owned than Cole Beasley, who's had a really nice role in here. And he also has a little bit more touchdown upside than I think people realize. They will use him in the red zone. So I thought, hey, this saves money. No one's going to play Cole Beasley. And then, of course, everyone, I get the Lockett play. He's $1,000 cheaper. People are afraid of Tre'Davious White, yada, yada. But I knew he was going to be way higher owned than DK Metcalf. So I love DK Metcalf as the bring back. Paying up to get the guy. DK Metcalf, all he does is scorch the earth every single week, and he's 5.3% in the best game environment of the week, the highest over-under 55. Over-under DK Metcalf's 5.3%. I really wish this lineup won so I could say, what is wrong with you people? But I can't. So that was my stack there. I mentioned I did an Ingram, Antonio Gibson. I liked those plays a lot. Oh my God, did you see that drop pass that Evan Ingram had? Later in the game, just hit him right in the numbers. Come on, Evan. And that's the lineup. That's the lineup. Here was another little kind of leverage thing playing the Vikings defense. What if they steal some of the touchdowns away from Dalvin Cook? And then the Justin Jackson, Henry Ruggs. Man, I don't think I would have done this pivot if I thought Justin Jackson would be this owned. I knew he'd be popular, but I thought he'd be more in the 20 to 25% range. It honestly blows my mind. And maybe my mind's just so messed up because I thought J.K. Dobbins, I thought DeAndre Swift, I thought Melvin Gordon, I thought David Montgomery. You can look at my spreadsheet here. These running backs, Montgomery, Dobbins, Gibson, DeAndre Swift. Don't think I wasn't putting Patrick Laird on that spreadsheet. I didn't end up on him. I thought these running backs were all really good plays to the point I don't think it made sense to me for Justin Jackson to have this kind of ownership. I didn't see his ceiling being much different than Dobson, Swift, Melvin Gordon, those guys. So to me, that was an inefficiency. And then I pivoted to him because I thought he would be 15 to 20% owned, which I could live with in this situation. Okay, let's see here. I got to catch up on the chat. I know, man. That's what I said. 38%. Holy shit. Who was touting Justin Jackson? I don't think I listened to enough shows last week because I didn't see the Justin Jackson hype train. Yeah, it was a decent start. I was feeling pretty good about it. I mean, I needed, Josh Allen throws all those TDs and none of them are to Diggs, Beasley, or John Brown. That hurts. I also went Patrick instead of Judy. Cost me the ship. Damn. I thought Tim Patrick was a sharp play coming back. People don't like playing guys coming off of injuries. They get spooked, but they continue. I still think it's one of the best exploitable things. One of the bigger inefficiencies is getting that injury discount coming back. Played our Laird and Savior in the Bankroll Challenge just to feel something. You know what? I will say I was disappointed. So I always knew Jordan Howard was going to get the early down work, but I thought, and so did Cardi. We can go look at Cardi's. This is a ceiling projection here, 18.8. I put in the ceiling projection is this middle column, salary, ceiling projection, ownership. Those are the things I like to look at when I'm trying to clear my mind on Sunday morning. I thought Laird was going to catch 5 or 6 balls. The fly in the ointment was Salvon Ahmed. He came in and was getting that work. It ended up being a 3-way committee. And to be fair, there was the quote from Brian Flores this week, and he said Jordan Howard, Patrick Laird, and Salvon Ahmed are all going to get work. So it happens. It happens. ETR was on Justin Jackson. Those assholes over at ETR pumping and dumping Justin Jackson's ownership. Who was I talking about? Justin Jackson or Patrick Laird? I was probably definitely talking about Patrick Laird. I don't think I ever talked up Justin Jackson. If I did, it's probably because I do 12 shows a week and I don't even remember half the shit I say. Yeah, I'm the same way with you. I literally text with Patrick Laird and I didn't know who Salvon Ahmed was. He looked good, honestly. He went to UW, I think. They have a thing for these UW guys, Myles Gaskin and Ahmed. Yep, coming back from injury and questionable tag for the week. It's definitely where the money's at. So yeah, this was just one of those weeks where I didn't get there. The chalk hit too hard. I hit both of my game stacks, roughly. An Allen to Diggs with Metcalf. I mean, that smashed. I mean, the start of this game over on my other one here, Watson to Cooks. I mean, I was dead on the water with that stack once Shenault left with the hamstring injury. Rough day for my brand guys. Patrick Laird doesn't get a ton of burn. Shenault leaves early. Rough day. Let's see if first place in the Baby Spy was similar. Pretty similar. Well, Drew Lock to Jerry Jeudy. No Atlanta bring back. Terry McLaurin and Logan Thomas with no New York Giant bring back. A one-off DJ Dallas. Correlated Marvin Jones and Dalvin Cook. I think that made a lot of sense. Titans defense I thought was a good play. Again, these are lineups I'm not going to make. DJ Dallas, though, again, another one of those guys in that $5,000 range. I got spooked by Alex Collins getting called up, the way Pete Carroll was talking about it. How did they end up divvying up those carries yesterday? I'm actually curious. DJ Dallas, 7 carries. Homer, 6 carries. Alex Collins, 2 carries. Yeah. And Homer getting 3 for 64 in the passing game. So last week was a unique situation for Seattle where DJ Dallas was literally the only guy left in that backfield. So I wasn't quite on him, but I see the case for it. You know, DJ Dallas was still most likely going to get the goal line work. He's not playing any other Seattle Bills guys in this lineup. I don't mind that as a one-off play. It's definitely hard for me to do a lock to Jeudy stack and not have an Atlanta bring back. It's harder for me to envision how those guys get there without someone on Atlanta having a big game. Again, I'm just talking through like when I like to look at these lineups and see how could I have logically got on these. And a lot of times it's harder for me to see how I would have built these lineups. I love the Marvin Jones, Dalvin Cook. I saw some other top teams in the Millie Maker that had Danny Amendola, Dalvin Cook. There was a team in the Juke, the $400 3 max that I thought was super sharp. They had McCaffrey and Dalvin Cook, and then they had McCaffrey with a cheap Demarcus Robinson at $3,100 and Dalvin Cook with a cheap Danny Amendola. I want to say it was at $3,400. And I saw Danny Amendola in the blitz. I mean, I just think that's so sharp. You have to save money, at least correlate it with a cheap option on the other side of that game. If McCaffrey and Cook are putting up points, the other team is going to be having to throw, get cheap access to it. I think that's pretty sharp. Let's take a look at the Bankroll Challenge League. So it was 150 this week. It filled early. This week, I will make it 200. If you're watching on my channel, I posted it in the comments, a link to the league. The Week 10 contest is not up yet because they haven't released the salaries or whatever. But if you jump in the league now, you will get notified when I create the Week 10 contest. It's going to be 200 this week. Do not make me promote it. Just fill it so I don't lose my soul promoting it. Let's see who won the Bankroll Challenge League. Draft results. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. This thing. Look at this. Now we're cooking. Someone took down the Bankroll lineup, the challenge, with a Galaxy Brain team. Ooh, I am excited about this. Patrick Mahomes to Travis Kelce, and you bring it back with Christian McCaffrey, and then he says, I also want to jam Dalvin Cook. So now I've spent $8,100 on Mahomes, $8,200 on Cook, $7,200 on Kelce, $8,500 on McCaffrey. Well, time to save some money. DJ Dallas, one-off. Larry Fitzgerald, Jakeem Grant. Little correlation there. Danny Amendola with Dalvin Cook. Just what I was just talking about. Saving money with that Dalvin Cook correlation pair. And then Falcons D. Dallas, Fitzgerald, Grant, Amendola. I mean, Amendola barely gets there. These other guys just serviceable. Just studs and duds. Studs and duds at low ownership. Love it. Love it. Let's see here. Let me check in on the chat. Sometimes I just, I get rolling. I get rolling and I forget the chat is here. Kevin Thompson, you got third. Everybody playing Cook this week. Was pregame LeBron clapping up the chalk and relishing it? Let's see here. Kevin, you had to have played Dalvin Cook. Oh, Kevin. Oh, Kevin, you were so close. You were so close to winning this thing. Let's check out Kevin's lineup. Justin Herbert, stacking it with Justin Jackson and Keenan Allen. Bring it back with Darren Waller. Nice stack. Playing Judy as a one-off. Dustin Johnson. It is Masters week. Deontay Johnson. Dalvin Cook with Marvin Jones. Love that correlation. Vikings D. I don't mind having Marvin Jones going against the Vikings D there just because Vikings D was so cheap. I like this lineup. I think this was a nice lineup. Let's see here. Dun, 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 dun. DeBoink got 5th place. Although, oh yeah. Drew Lock to Tim Patrick and Noah Fant. Bring it back with Russell Gage and Julio Jones. The double bring back. I like that. Antonio Gibson and Terry McLaurin. Dalvin Cook, Titans D. Again, look at these. I mean, this is a small tournament, 150. Aldo essentially getting 2 things right. I would say 2 things right. Identified a great game, the Drew Lock Atlanta game, and Dalvin Cook. I guess we could say 3 things right, getting Terry McLaurin. But even then, you don't have to be perfect. Fant gets hurt. Gage does nothing. Patrick barely gets there. He gets there on that TD, but it doesn't matter. Eliminate the number of things you have to get right in these small field tournaments. This isn't going to work in the bigger contests. I'm not saying this kind of lineup isn't going to work. I'm just saying this kind of outcome, you're not going to make a lot of money. But you can win tournaments. You can get 5th place in a 150-person tournament when you build smartly like this. Wow, we got everyone in the Bankroll Challenge. We got Reese in the top 4. Is there a correlation between if you finish well in the Bankroll Challenge, you hop in the chat the next morning because you know I might dap up your lineup? I think there's probably a correlation there. But I'll do it, of course. Reese, 4th place, also had a Drew Lock, also a Tim Patrick, Noah Fant with Julio Jones. Jammed McCaffrey and Cook and saved money with David Moore. And had the 0 from Justin Jackson. But a really nice lineup there. I love David Moore as a one-off. Like, to me, last week we saw it with Demarcus Robinson. He was 3,000 or 3,100. This idea of targeting the cheap, low-owned ancillary pass catchers in a game that's projected to see a lot of points. It allows you to jam in studs. It allows you to get some leverage on the chalkier options. And it gets you on a unique roster construction. I think those plays are really sharp. I can't believe ETR Josh Justin Jackson to the people. Can you believe that? 100% trying to get the dap. I'll dap you up. Of course it's open to new listeners. It's open to whoever. I also have the Discord channel going. The Discord channel's been fun. I think there's over 200 people in there. I don't promote it on Twitter because I do want it to just be for the people who watch these streams and want to talk football. If you're watching on my channel, there's a link to the Discord. And it's honestly, it's pretty cool. We have stuff for DFS talk. We have season long. There's people talking Dynasty in there. We have a drink channel. People posting screenshots of their cocktails and their wine and their craft beers. It's a good time. How many people do we got in here now? We got a lot. We're over 200 people in here. A good community. I talk about it a lot. Like, I benefit a lot from when I build my tilt space lineups with Holka and Leone. It clears my mind. It helps me think about things I didn't think about. I get narrowed in on certain plays that I like. And it's nice to have someone else to be like, well, did you think about this? Or I don't actually like that much. Or ownership could be changing there. Did you think of this? Bouncing ideas off of people, I think, is a very valuable part of the DFS process. So that's my plug for the Discord. The RotoGrinders has a great Discord community as well. You got guys like Head Chopper and Blender in there answering questions. PSU fans this week saying how active he is in the Discord. Take advantage of those communities. It's hard to do this stuff on an island. Listening to you has gotten me more on the more type plays. Can't play the Diggs, DK, Lockett guys as one-offs because those guys are going to be in every game stack, but got to get access to that high total. For sure. For sure. I think you could have played DK as a one-off this week just because he was going to be so low owned. But like you said, he was really expensive. So get access to that game in a cheap way. I thought that was sharp. Ian Douglas asks, in large field GPPs, do you think correlation is less viable than it would be in smaller field high stakes contests? So, I mean, I've talked about this a little bit before, and you hear me saying things like you only got 2 things right or 3 things right. When you look, actually, let me pull this up because I was in the Millie Maker, so we can look at the winning Millie Maker lineup here. And I'll pull it up and we can talk about it. But the way I think of the Millie Maker is instead of having to get 2, 3 things right, you're having to often get 7, 8, 9 things right. 9 individual things right. You're needing a ceiling at every single position. So often we see when we correlate, you're playing Tim Patrick and Jerry Jeudy together and just hoping that you can capture the largest share of those Broncos points through those 2 guys. But in the Millie Maker, you can't take let's say Jeudy and Fant. In the Millie Maker, you can't win the Millie having Fant, even if you have Jeudy. You also need to nail the tight end. You also need to have the Irv Smith there. So it's just harder. It's like hitting a 9-leg parlay versus you can win a 3 max or a smaller tournament with a Noah Fant bagel because you correlated with Locke and Jeudy and you got on Julio coming back. But it's just harder to do. Let's see if we can find the Millie Maker. I just put 2 lineups in there. I had to put a Laird LaVisca lineup in the Millie. I mean, come on. Let's see what they look like here. See, this is what I was talking about. They did a lock. Here, let me get rid of this off the thing. They did a lock to Jeudy and didn't bring it back. So to answer your question, they sacrificed correlation because they knew they had to hit all of these other individual one-offs. Similar to the David Moore play, Gabriel Davis, 3,200, cheap, unowned guy in a high total game. I like that play. Jonnu Smith, I thought was one of the better cheap tight ends. If I go over to my spreadsheet here, I had Jonnu Smith up here along with Ingram, and let's ignore the Mark Andrews part. Where am I here? I want to go back to this Millie Maker. Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, Terry McLaurin, Jonnu Smith, Gabriel Davis. These are all one-offs with no correlation. It's just really, really hard to nail one-off after one-off after one-off. It's just really hard. So I think correlation is still incredibly valuable. But I think you have to, in the same way, if you're playing Showdown, if you have all these rules in your Showdown and you're like, well, this guy has to be in here with this guy and blah, 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 you're going to outrule yourself from having a chance because in a 1-game sample, we see so many random things happen and those correlations speak to a larger sample size. So the correlations are nice because they point us in the right direction. But in a 1-day sample size, in a Millie Maker contest with how many people were in this? 228,000? I mean, the strongest correlation in DFS is QB to wide receiver 1. There's diminishing levels of correlation when you move past those. They're still incredibly helpful for us in the smaller field stuff. But in this, I'm not an MME Millie Maker player. If I were, my guess, and again, I'm talking just out of my ass here, my guess is I would have very simple stat correlation rules. I think I would probably have a QB to wide receiver with a bring back. And the bring back didn't even hit here. And then I would let it rip otherwise. Because I just think it's too hard. You really need a game to go over 60 points total to have a game stack really work in the Millie Maker. You just have to have everyone hitting at a big rate. I talked with Leone about this on the Tilt Space yesterday. It was actually Joe Holka was out sick. I have the link to the week 9 tilt space down below. And we talked a lot about this kind of stuff. Leone was like, I don't even like playing these contests because it's that thing where you look at the lineups and I have to be realistic with myself and say, hey, I'd never make a lineup like this, which again, some people love playing these kind of contests and I don't fault them. But I think you just have to be realistic about the contest you're playing, the goals you have for it, and then build accordingly. What kind of bankroll nit plays the millie? I know, man. I had to put 2 lineups in. Keenan ownership was super low yesterday. Do we really think that was because of the strep throat? Honestly, I think there's merit to that stuff. I'm with you. This is surprising in the millie maker that he was only 10.7% owned. I think people overreact to these little news and notes thing. Oh, there's going to be some wind. Okay, we're off this guy. Oh, he was questionable during the week. Like, fantasy players love to feel warm and fuzzy and comfortable about their lineups before they hit submit. And even a guy who crushes like Keenan Allen, just that little seed of uncertainty, just that little doubt of, oh, earlier in the day he might not have played, it makes you feel less comfortable about him. I'm just trying to get in the mind of a normal hand builder and why Keenan Allen's ownership would have been down here. Because if you would have told a lot of people Keenan Allen was going to be 10%, they would have jammed him. They would have let it rip. Yeah, people were scared to play CMC. I'm so mad. I'm so mad that I fell for that stupid report. And the report doesn't change the ceiling on Christian McCaffrey. Like, we still know he has that ceiling. But to me, I'm like, there's a big difference of Christian McCaffrey at 8,500 getting 10 to 12 touches than there is with him getting, 20 to 25 touches. And again, the Derrick Henry thing was just tough for me because I was like, man, Derrick Henry 7,900. He has a similar ceiling. He's going to be similarly owned to McCaffrey, just slightly higher owned. And so I just got funneled to Derrick Henry. Even though, as you can tell by my sheet, my top 2 plays, I wanted to play these 2 guys. I wanted to play Derrick Henry and Christian McCaffrey, and I spooked myself out of it. I think the other thing that was hard about McCaffrey is I wanted to correlate him with something, and the correlations were just expensive. We saw that lineup. If you wanted to get in Christian McCaffrey with Travis Kelce, which would have been a smash and make a ton of sense, it's just expensive. And you needed to probably get down to Drew Lock to kind of facilitate something like that. All right, guys. Like I said, the Bankroll Challenge League, the link is in the show notes. Appreciate you guys joining me on these Monday mornings. It's very cathartic, working through the tilt, working through the process. We'll get there. Oh, I did have a little showdown bink last night. I got even on the day. I play very low stakes showdown. This was a $3 20 max. Solo shipped it for first place for $1,000. It can't make it on the spreadsheet, but I did end up actually in the green yesterday. Drew Brees, Alvin Kamara, Emmanuel Sanders, Saints D, Leonard Fournette, Godwin. So it ended up being an okay day. All right, guys. Smash the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Thank you to RotoGrinders for hosting us. We will be back on Friday. Haven't booked a guest yet, but I will get... No, I already know who the guest is. I actually did already book it. I did this a couple weeks ago. Leone and Joe Holker are going to come on, and we're going to talk through how we build our lineups for the tilt space. We're playing... This past week, we played the $1,500 single entry game changer, and we maxed the juke, $400 3 max. And those are the lineups we've been building for the show. And so we're going to show you guys how we talk through those, how we build those collectively on a Sunday morning. I think you guys will enjoy that, kind of talking through that process. So we will see you guys on Friday at noon Eastern. I will post the Listener League once the salaries are released. And yeah, that's the good stuff, guys. All right. Have a great rest of week. Enjoy Monday Night Football. Oh, man, it is going to be a good one. who can hardly wait for Joe Flacco versus Cam Newton. All right. See you guys next time.